My name is Patrick Bannon with the Bellevue Downtown Association. It is a pleasure to see you here this morning. We are going to hear from two of our esteemed elected representatives, but I would like to recognize our other elected representatives in the audience, and they are State Senator Patty Kuderer. Please join me in a round of applause. We're also joined by Councilmember John Stokes, Councilmember Janice Zahn, and from Mercer Island, Councilmember Wendy Weicker. Proud partners of the Downtown Talks program are Amazon, Heritage Bank, Kaiser Permanente, Puget Sound Energy, and Vulcan Real Estate. Please join me in thanking our partners. We have a number of new members who have joined the BDA, so please take a look at the list. We look forward to welcoming them more fully in future programs. We also have a big event coming up next Monday, the Bellevue Family Fourth, presented by the Bellevue Collection. We invite you to come out and join us for that as well. We're ready to move into our program, and I think this morning we're going to hear a little bit about leadership and how leadership takes place here in Bellevue. I saw leadership the other day when my wife and we took our daughter to Lincoln Square for a birthday party at Power Play, and then we got Din Tai Fung and walked down to the downtown park and thought it'd be a nice evening. This was last Friday evening for a picnic. And oftentimes leadership shows up in conversations or going to a council meeting or on one-on-ones with your team members. But as I sat back and watched the park come alive about 6:30 in the afternoon, watching people stream in and out of Old Bellevue, seeing people come down the colonnade from Bellevue Square, and just watching Inspiration Playground and the mingling and the enjoyment that was happening on a beautiful summer afternoon, it struck me that that was leadership, and that was leadership that started a long time ago, before many of us were here in this room. Decisions that helped cement the future of that park, conversations that helped create the land use plan for downtown Bellevue, the decisions that helped create this community and continue to enable it to thrive, and ultimately bring us all here this morning to talk about leadership. So we're going to see a quick video that the City of Bellevue has just put together, and it will give you a taste of what leadership has looked like over the past year. Let's roll the video. Well done, Bellevue. And now it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage our mayor and deputy mayor. So please join me in a warm BDA round of applause for Mayor Robinson and Deputy Mayor Nieuwenhuis. Okay, we're just going to have a casual conversation here for the next 30 minutes or so about what's going on in our fair city. And once we get situated here, we're going to roll into some questions that have been inspired by feedback from our members. We asked our members about issues and topics that are of concern to them, of opportunities in our future, and we're going to hit most of those key issues today. So we're our mayor and deputy mayors mayor are going to do a thorough job in running through the answers to those questions. And we're going to start out with our mayor on a question to get us rolling. And maybe this is the only question we need to ask right now, and that is just tell us a little more about the state of the city as you see it today.
Thanks,
the mayor's laughing. It's a little bit different than it was during rehearsals, Patrick.
But I have a lot to say. You know, we call this thriving by design. And to me, that means planning in advance of development. And we've been planning for a long time for the growth that you're seeing today and that we're going to see in the next few years. And it really started back in 2013 when we agreed to put light rail in. And that, can you imagine Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, and all these incredible companies making the investment in Bellevue that they're making if we hadn't decided to do that? And can you imagine if we decided today to do that, we'd have to wait another 10 years. So that was a long time decision. And then former Councilmember Wallace led the charge in upzoning our entire downtown. And as a result, we're only 65% built out now. We have these incredible growth areas in Bellevue, including downtown. We have Wilburton, Bell Red, Factoria, Eastgate, and we can direct all our growth into those areas. So, you know, we have a lot going here for Bellevue that we do with the planning. And, you know, I look at our council members. Councilmember Barksdale was formerly on the Planning Commission, and he took part in the Wilburton visioning process. Councilmember Stokes was formerly on the Parks Board, and he worked on the Eastgate planning process. And they bring that experience to the table when we talk about policy now. And Deputy Mayor, you were formerly on the Parks Board as well, and now you are working with the Human Services organizations to make sure that we get the funding out and that we anticipate the needs. And I'm just going to take a break here to commend the Deputy Mayor. He has been an amazing partner to me. He is a dad, he's a family man, he is the marketing director at his company, and he does this job 100%, and I just so appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor.
You know, Bellevue is nationally known for the work that we've done in the Spring District. We put in the infrastructure in advance of development there, and it's been nationally noted. I'll go back to the council members. Councilmember Robertson and I, we advocated so strongly at the state, with the state, to get the funding for the transportation package. And our voice carried a lot of weight because we're not just anticipating growth, we're experiencing growth. We can tell you with experience, we desperately needed those dollars, and I was so pleased with the distribution that Bellevue got. We're doing the DEI work with the help of Councilmember Zahn and Dr. Linda Whitehead and our community to find out what does Bellevue need to do to be that welcoming community so that everybody who lives and works and visit here, they feel safe and they feel like they belong. We're embarking on the 2-year comprehensive plan. We're going to make the vision of Bellevue for the next 20 years. And so you can all be a part of that. There's ways to engage with us and get input on what your vision is of the city. Then next we'll be doing the budget, and you can weigh in on that as well. So all the growth that we're experiencing today, we've been anticipating and planning for, and we wouldn't, I don't think we'd be where we are today if we hadn't done that, and I'm really grateful for the work we've done.
Thank you. Great segue talking about growth. Deputy Mayor, growth comes with challenges and opportunities. Take us through, give us an inside look at your mind as it comes to growth and the prospects for Bellevue and what we're facing in the next few years.
Certainly, Patrick. And good morning, everybody. And Patrick, thank you for hosting this as part of the BDA. Great to be in person again. If you saw the two previous State of the Cities, the mayor and I were behind so much plastic, but this is much, much better. So the growth, yeah, it's got its rewards and its challenges. The rewards, obviously, are the 25,000 plus jobs coming into the city. I think a more and more vibrant downtown, all the amenities that come with a vibrant downtown. We're seeing more restaurants, more bars, more placemaking opportunities, more support of small businesses that are going to really create a lot of those amenities for all those employees that are coming into the city. I think the city of Bellevue is turning more and more into that place you want to be, not just for those in the region, but beyond as well. The number of tourism activities that's going to make Bellevue a key destination, and a key destination not just to support other events, but events actually happening in the city of Bellevue as well. The Rock and Roll Marathon, for example, which will be coming, I believe, Labor Day weekend, is going to be a huge event for this city, and one that will really put us on the map even further as it relates to events. Now, of course, there's challenges, and first and foremost among them is getting people in and out of downtown with so many jobs. But we're taking action there. Certainly, the mayor mentioned light rail. Then we also are really trying to expand with multimodal approach the number of ways that people can get in and out of the city, be a bike, be a pedestrian, working with our key partners in the city to offer as many options as possible to employees so they're just not in their cars by themselves trying to come into Bellevue. So with that, there's probably chief among them, but the other part of that is affordable housing as well. Certainly that is a challenge, and a challenge that we're taking head on. I know the mayor is going to speak to this a little bit more, so I won't go into more details, but certainly that is one of the key challenges in the city.
Thank you. Mayor Robinson, housing. As we look to create a community that is a place where people can stay and live throughout their lives, and a place where people have access to join our community and be a part of its future. Housing is such a huge issue and has been a big part of the council's agendas and staff work over the past few years. So give this audience here and anyone watching at home a little slice of what's going on in the city regarding housing. What work is happening right now?
Yeah, thank you. We're doing a lot of work in terms of housing. We committed to the Growth Management Act and the PSRC recommendation of 35,000 new housing units and 70,000 new jobs by 2044. So the challenge is, how do we get there? Well, we're doing a lot. Looking at the comp plan, we'll be rezoning Wilburton and Bell Red, and we'll be creating more opportunities to put a wide variety of housing in Bellevue. But if you want to talk about affordable housing, we have an affordable housing strategy with the help of former Mayor John Stokes that we adopted in 2017. And we've been slowly implementing that. But part of that is we redid our multifamily property tax exemption, which is an incentive for developers to put in 10% of or more of their housing units affordable to people earning 80% of the area median income. And that has been so successful that every developer that can use it is using it in Bellevue. So that's really exciting. We've rezoned, we've reduced our parking requirements for our transit-oriented areas. We're allowing townhouse development there, which I love to see. We're going to be seeing a lot of affordable housing around the maintenance facility in Bell Red. And we're also going to see it all over Bellevue. We have a great project happening right next to Green Bombs, which is a real great partnership with Microsoft to do that. And another thing that we do that I love is housing preservation. We've partnered with Amazon and Microsoft and the King County Housing Authority to buy apartment buildings, older ones that are on the market and are going to be torn down and redeveloped into luxury housing. And they've bought those and they've renovated them and kept the people who are living there, who are paying low relatively low rent and made it permanent affordable housing for the city. And that keeps the character of the city, that keeps the character of the community, because those people are able to remain in our community. So we're doing a lot of work to create the housing that we need.
Thank you. Next topic is transportation. If we were to spin a wheel of issues, you know it's going to come around to transportation at some point, and hopefully we are all winners of the big prize of transportation because it is so important to us, and it's linked to housing and land use and our plans overall. So, Deputy Mayor, give us the current rundown on the transportation plans and priorities of the city.
Well, that list is extensive, so I'm going to refer to my notes here because there are so many projects, so many programs currently going on in the city, and I really wanted to relay them because they're impactful, and some of you may not be aware of them. So I just want to do a quick rundown on some of them for you. So the city's first neighborhood greenway opened up on 165th and 166th Avenue in East Bellevue in 2021, and that resulted in lower vehicle speeds and increased bike traffic. We've got the Southeast Newport Way Pedestrian Bicycle Improvement Project. That was a mile of roadway from Somerset Boulevard Southeast to 150th Avenue Southeast. We also continue to support and work with Sound Transit, obviously, and support of Eastlink, and we celebrated the opening of the new parking garage, and so that's being used already, and that will be that future South Bellevue station in November of 2021. Completed the South Downtown I-405 access study. The construction of the Westlake Sammamish Parkway Phase 2 is almost complete, and I know the residents around there can't wait till that's done. In terms of programs, we have the Neighborhood Safety, Connectivity, and Congestion Levy. Now, with that, the program completed 11 partially or fully funded projects from 2021 to 2022, with total investments of more than $18 million. And then we have the Pavement Preservation Program, completed its 35th year of repaving and maintaining city streets in 2021, and that was 31 miles worth of road. Quite a bit, quite extensive, and we're already up to 3 miles so far for 2022. Now, the big part of this, though, is the state transportation package, and I'm glad that Senator Cooterer is here because she was part of our delegation that really ensured that we got a piece of this $450 million that was allocated for timely completion of projects on I-405 and the SR 167. These projects support Sound Transit's 405 bus rapid transit, which is really Eastside's light rail on wheels, if you think about it. And the transportation package includes $18 million for East Rail projects in Bellevue, and $6.9 million was allocated for the completion of the Mountains to Sound Greenway Trail on 150th Avenue Southeast. So, and we're not just doing this work, we're actually being recognized for this work, and we've won numerous awards, but I'll just give you two. One of them was Vision Zero. Our road safety work was recognized by the National Roadway Safety Award from the Federal Highway Administration. That happened in 2021. And then recently, the completed segment of the Mountains to Sound Greenway in Factoria won a 2022 Transportation Project Year of the Award from the American Public Works Association. So that's just a quick snapshot. There's much more, much more. And transportation is certainly top of mind for the entire council, but I just wanted to give you that quick snapshot, and I'll turn it over to the mayor for some additional comments.
Please.
How many of you ride your bike in Bellevue? Raise your hand. That's pretty good. I want you to know that I started riding my bike just when we started doing these ped bike routes, because I thought, how can I make any decision about where a bike route should be if I'm not riding my bike? And so it was very revealing to me. There's nothing, the only thing more dangerous than a city that has, for a city is to have, that has no bike infrastructure is a city that has partial infrastructure, which is kind of where we're at right now. We're just kind of getting over the hump, but you're riding along in your protected bike lane and you're feeling great. It's fun, you're happy, and then all of a sudden you're in a lane with traffic. And, you know, we need to complete our plan, but luckily we have the funding to do that. You know, right now, I think this is a great opportunity for us to envision what a 15-minute city could look like. That's that kind of French philosophy that every place you need to go, whether it's work or school or shopping or having fun, is within 15 minutes of where you live, whether you're driving or walking or riding your bike. And right now, only 10% of the people who work downtown live in Bellevue. So that's 100,000 people commuting in and out of our city twice a day. That's a huge impact. So creating opportunities for people to live where they work and creating opportunities for people to safely and in a fun way get to and from work is a big part of the plan, as well as doing the road work so that the people in the cars can get around. And I'll tell you, right now, the entire city of Bellevue, it's 30% of the people who work here live here. I think we can make that 50%.
Much of that work, the investment over time, has taken partnerships with other agencies, partnerships with the state of Washington, with employers, with the Bellevue Downtown Association, the Chamber. So I think the value of partnerships is a theme that continues to come up. Mayor Robinson, what do partnerships mean to you in helping lead this city? And what do we have to learn through those partnerships? And what might we tell some other communities about the value of partnerships?
Yeah, I cannot underscore enough the value of partnerships. And they're not things that happen overnight. These are things that you develop over the years, your partnerships with your business community, with our hospitals, with our schools, with our large employers, with our residents. I mean, all these came into play. Oh, and I should say, especially with the BDA and our chamber. I mean, the work that you did during COVID to activate the downtown and partnering with the city and the alfresco dining and the yellow lanterns, the orange chairs and tables. I mean, all that work is in partnership with this whole community, and you really brought so many people that you're describing into Old Bellevue and downtown Bellevue in such a successful way. But I have to say, you know, those partnerships were tested during COVID. And boy, did people rise to the occasion, whether it was a civic organization or a business organization or our large employers helping us to fund our human service needs. Do you know how much money our large employers put into our rental assistance program? I mean, we paid so many people's rents. You can talk to Jennifer Fisher about this after breakfast, that, you know, people were able to stay in our community who wouldn't have been able to otherwise, and they don't owe a ton of rent at the end of the day. They don't have to mediate with their landlord, and the landlords got paid. So we saved our entire community. And also our small businesses. We had an incredible small business support program that our large employers paid into. So I look around the room and I think of all the ways that I've partnered with all of you and met with you in our conversations, and it's so important that we continue to do that. And I have to say, our partnerships with the federal representation, our state representation and county, I mean, look at how we did when they distributed funding. Look at how much ARPA money that we got. I think more per capita than any other East Side city. Look at our state transportation package and how many Bellevue projects were funded. This is, you know, they don't do that for cities they don't like. So, you know, partnerships are really important.
We're likable, Patrick.
It's great. Continue to be a city that people like. That's always a great strategy. Big issue related to that strategy is public safety. So let's talk a little bit about public safety as things keep segueing perfectly from partnerships into public safety. And as our community grows, not just downtown, but the entire city embraces additional growth, plans for the future, public safety will continue to be a top priority, I know. Deputy Mayor, tell us a little bit about what's going on in the city related to public safety and what we can look forward to moving forward.
Well, first and foremost, we're blessed to have just incredible first responders in the city. And we need to continue to support them in every way, shape, and form, of the brave men and women of not only the Bellevue Police Department, but also by the fire department as well. Some of the key highlights over the last years that we hired our new police chief, Chief Shirley, who's right in the back, right over there. Can you please stand up, Chief Shirley? I can't tell you how impressed I am the way he has started, the way he has just really throughout the community has just really tried to get to know everybody, all the residents, the different neighborhoods, all the different partnerships that we have with corporations as well, understand the issues and the upcoming issues with the growth and with light rail. So he was officially hired on February 23rd, and I think his 26 career in Santa Monica will really prove helpful here in the city of Bellevue. So just thrilled with his hire. Another key development was we had a pilot project called CCAT, or the Community Crisis Assistant Team Pilot Program, and this was really unique, one of the few in the country actually, where we teamed a mental health professional with a police officer, and a police officer not in uniform but actually more in civilian clothes, and they would approach those that might be experiencing some type of crisis or experiencing homelessness. And the real goal of that project was to divert them away from jail and get them the help they need. So if they were suffering from a mental health crisis, addiction issues, we could direct them to the services that they need, or to the hospital, or to the right shelter. So that was a really successful program. That program has ended, but we as a council are really keen on funding that program in the future. And then the police department also, as some of you might be aware, we did what was called the Mayor's Pledge as part of the OIR report to do a review of our use of force policy. And there were 47 recommendations. We have implemented all 47. Granted, some of those were really just administrative in nature, but still really important to do, and we completed that. Then we also created and published what's called now a police data website, which is on the city's website. This is brand new, and anybody in the city can go and take a look at what the department looks like currently in terms of the makeup, including the diversity of the department, and then as well as crime statistics. All of that is there now, and that's regularly updated. And then the police department, and then again here, thanks to Chief Shirley's leadership, really relaunched and reinvigorated our police advisory councils. Now there's 7 of those, each one representing a different aspect of our community, such as the African American Advisory Council, the Muslim Advisory Council, LGBTQ plus advisory panel, all providing really great and important information to the police department. So it's so great to see that relaunched and reinvigorated. And then the last point is body-worn cameras coming very soon. So that's going to be really great as well to get all of our officers the body-worn cameras as well. On the police department side, and the mayor talked a little bit about partnerships, and it's incredible how many people have just dove in and supported the brand new Bellevue Fire Foundation. Amazon, we've had DoorDash, Kemper Development, all have contributed, and Amazon led the way in leading the way for a new fire truck. A wildfire truck for getting to parts of Bellevue. Speaking about climate change, perhaps later a little bit too. But there are areas in Bellevue where we need a wildfire, wild brush truck to really access and control those fires. So that's a very big deal for us. And the Bellevue Fire Department was actually the first agency in King County to be awarded the American Heart Association Gold Plus Lifeline EMS Award, making them one of an elite group in the country of pre-hospital providers providing the highest standard of care for patients in cardiac arrest emergencies. So if you are going to have a cardiac incident, Bellevue would be the place to have it. Not that we want you to have it. So, Bellevue fully recognizes the importance of our first responders and their inclusive commitment to everybody in our city. It's just, again, we're blessed to have such great departments here in the city.
Thank you. For the audience today, is anyone celebrating a birthday today? No birthdays? Well, maybe they're celebrating and they're not here this morning, but next year is the city's 70th birthday, and we thought it would be appropriate to ask about the wish list. What is on the city's wish list? What is on your wish list? And Mayor Robinson, I'll let either one of you start out. Whoever wants to start out, I think you both get a shot at this.
I think we're aligned on this, so go ahead, Mayor.
Okay, well, I think we want a big party.
Okay.
That's the first thing. Like to see some good weather. But, we have 22 council priorities. that we are trying to hack through, and to get those implemented would be great for the city. They're all very thoughtful and important, and so I'd love to see those achieved.
I would say ditto. I mean, getting those priorities achieved is key and top of mind for us every day. I mean, the party would be icing on the cake, but the priorities are key.
Party.
Okay, so 70 candles on the cake. And if anyone here would like to go get information about those 22 priorities, where would they find them?
Brad?
Probably on the website.
Yeah, they're all listed on the City of Bellevue's website, as well as the progress.
Bellevuelaw.gov.
Yeah, as well as the progress that we're making towards all those priorities are now on the website as well.
Great. Check it out. It's a budget year, too. So talk about implementing the 22 priorities. That's part of the framing of the budget process. Deputy Mayor, help us understand what the budget process looks like for the community coming up.
Certainly, Patrick. So we've just started. Well, I'll back up a little bit. So we do this and produce every 2 years budget, includes a 7-year capital budget as well. And the budget process is really public-driven. We really want as many residents as possible coming forward and telling us what they want from our city. We really value and that feedback, but for us, the budget's really a values document as well. So to get your feedback and understand what's important, what you want to see in the city is so important. But I will say this, we are not, despite what you may have read in the Seattle Times, looking at an Amazon tax, looking at a head tax, or looking at a jumpstart tax. So my apologies to Danny Westneat if he's in the crowd tonight here, but if you had seen that article and some of the, I would guess, the misrepresentations of some of the quotes there of Councilmember Lee and others, that is not what we're planning on doing. That is not how you thrive by design. So the council had its first of 3 public hearings on that city budget. We've done one. We'll do 2 more. One will be in the summer, and then one will be in the fall. And then we will approve the budget come November. Now, during the 23-24 budget cycle, city expenditures driven by mainly urbanization and inflation will outstrip revenues, a structural deficit that was expected and has been shared in prior budget. But that is for this next budget cycle. Currently, right now, it is a balanced budget. We will see a small delta of roughly $3 million, which is nothing compared to the 30+ million delta we had to make up due to COVID. And thankfully, due to the city's real history of consistent, really sound financial decisions and always putting back money into the council contingency fund, so we were able to make that up without raising taxes and keeping the city whole. So that was really important, and we plan on doing that again. But
I'm
yeah,
just going to say, I'm going to also credit our city manager, Brad Miyake.
very good point.
Really, really nice job, Brad. Thank you.
Yep. So, but that going back to that $3 million, just to give you a data point on that, yes, it's never great to have a deficit, and that some of that is a residual of COVID. But there was speaking of the Seattle Times, there was also another article in there about the $100 million hole that the city of Seattle is facing right now. And I raise this because it's a key difference between Seattle and Bellevue, and not to beat up on Seattle, but the difference is that, they take one-time money and then take that and put it towards ongoing programs. So when that one-time money goes away, now they're in a deficit. We don't do that at the city of Bellevue. We don't do that. We find those funding sources for programs for the long term to make sure that they can remain healthy and viable and not just are around for 1 year or 2 years. We make sure that they continue to thrive in our city. So that early budget report focused on the significant impacts of inflation affecting the service areas in the city of Bellevue. And our inflation rose 6.3% in 2021. That's obviously going to be higher in 2022. So another consideration that we're going to have to make. But again, our budget is a value-driven process with an equity lens. and we want to incorporate equity-informed decisions into the biannual budget along those fiscal, performance, and community inputs. And the concept builds on that equity work that the mayor mentioned previously as well. That's a part of all of our process and being done across the city to achieve the services and maintain the services, that high level of services that the city of Bellevue is so well known for.
The city council and city staff have always, at least in my memory, have invited input from the business community, from the entire community. So if you're interested in getting involved with that process and referencing and prioritizing what's important to you, the budget's a great place to do that. Much has been made about leadership style. We see leadership play out in national headlines. We see it play out in our day-to-day interactions. And in Bellevue, I think there has become a brand of leadership that has surfaced and builds on a legacy of leadership, but particularly in the last 2 to 3 years as we've dealt with a crisis in the pandemic, I think you can talk about Bellevue and reference a leadership style. So, Mayor Robinson, how would you characterize Bellevue's leadership style?
Well, and when I say this, I'm talking about our entire council, and I think we're smart collaborators. You know, we have one of the most diverse cities in the state. So we're really good listeners. We're really open to new ideas. I have open office hours. Anybody can meet with me, and they do. I meet with people all the time, and it's great to hear all the different perspectives and the values in the city. You have a council of 7 individuals who literally fought to be in this role so that they could represent you, and we all represent at large. And we have a council city manager form of government, which is different than Seattle, which has the strong mayor form of government. And so that means that we have somebody who's completely non-political managing the entire city. And we do, the council does the policy. And so I really, again, credit Brad Miyake for his excellent work managing the city and the staff, and the hiring that you've been doing. It's just excellent. We couldn't have better staff working for us in this city. So that's how I would describe it.
Yeah, thank you. Deputy Mayor, what is Bellevue going to look like in 5 years?
Good question. So I think I touched on this earlier, but I think with that focus on placemaking is really going to play a large role in what Bellevue's going to look like in 5 years. I think there's going to be, again, more opportunities for just such a vibrant downtown, more restaurants and more bars, more performing arts in general throughout the city, more events. Again, the rock and roll marathon, as well as supporting events that are just outside the city. So, as most of you probably are aware, the World Cup is coming to the U.S. and Seattle is going to be one of the host cities. Now we'll see which teams will be designated to Seattle, but boy, if you haven't booked your hotel rooms yet, do it now, because I expect that Bellevue will be one of the key destinations that people are going to want to stay, shop, eat before they go to a game in Seattle. So that's really what I see, and it's such a balance, right, between that thriving downtown as well as maintaining our character and charm of all of our neighborhoods as well, which includes downtown, which is the fastest growing neighborhood in the city of Bellevue. So that's, and I think we'll be able to do that successfully. And that's really kind of where I see us in 5 years. Oh, and I can mention one more thing, Patrick. Sorry, I think we're going to be a much more connected city as well, regionally connected, as we mentioned, talking about the partnership, but also with light rail and all the ways to get in and out of the city. I think it's going to be much more a regional player as well. Thank you.
Great, yeah. So the World Cup will be a wonderful opportunity to welcome the world and celebrate our diversity. And as I'm reminded, this comes up in conversations all the time, I love downtown. Much of our world revolves around downtown, but truly Bellevue is a city of communities and neighborhoods, and it is about the entire city thriving and downtown serving as a beating heart of that city. So hopefully the predictions and the future is going to continue to be bright for downtown. So we're ready to talk about bold predictions. Bold predictions for the future. We just talked about the next 5 years, but let's get bold. Let's be bold, thriving by design. Take us out there a little bit and give us some bold predictions, and we'll start with the deputy mayor.
I think my bold prediction will be that Bellevue will be the third largest employment center in the Pacific Northwest, only behind Seattle and Vancouver, British Columbia. We are fourth right now, but we are gaining on Portland very fast. So we will be very shortly number 3. That's my bold prediction.
I think my bold prediction is that we will have 50% of the people who work in Bellevue living in Bellevue.
Great. I look forward to that. So with those bold predictions, we're going to wrap our program, and it is, again, a privilege to work with these professionals, our elected representatives, the entire council in the city of Bellevue. Please join me in thanking and recognizing Mayor Robinson and Deputy Mayor Nieuwenhuis. That is our State of the City program. So we'll just wrap it up right there. We're not going to do Q&A this year, but your questions are hugely valuable, and we welcome your feedback and continued participation. You can go see Dr. Lynn's open office hours. Stop by anytime for a consultation, and I know the Deputy Mayor is open to talking with you too. So on behalf of the Bellevue Downtown Association, all of our members, our board, thank you for being here this morning. Thank you to the City of Bellevue and our City Council for your strong leadership, and we'll see you again next time.